Hi, this is Linda Bowen. I'm Chief of the Sexual Assault Section at California Emergency Management Agency. Some of you will remember me as Linda Lucky when I was Chief of the Sexual Assault Section at the Office of Emergency Services. And those of you that have been in the field even longer than that will remember me as Linda Bryan when I first came to the Office of Criminal Justice Planning in 1986. I've been working in this field for 36 years. And it seems like that time has flown by. It just doesn't seem like it's been that long at all. One of the things about this work is that it constantly grabs your attention. There is always something that needs to be done, and there's always the possibility or the opportunity to have an impact that would positively impact other people's lives. It is fulfilling. At times it's very, very sad, and at times it's exhilarating. But it's been fun. Overall, it's been fun to do, and I am privileged to have had the opportunity to do this.
Hi, Linda. It's Joelle, and I just am humbled before you to say thank you so much for your unending support of the rape crisis movement. As memory serves me, you started out at the Women's Center of San Joaquin County, and ever since has been just an amazing role model to all of us. I hope you know that every day is a day that's remembered of how much you contribute to our field. Thank you.
Linda, I just want to thank you for all your hard work and commitment to all of our rape crisis centers. But for us at Center for Community Solutions, you were there in 2002 when we did the merger and acquisition. You flew in, you were by our side, you helped make it possible. We wouldn't have been able to expand and serve that community without your TLC. So thank you for all that TLC and support, and we wish you back the same thing.
Hi, Linda. I really can't tell you how much we at the Riverside Area Rape Crisis Center have appreciated all the help that you always are there to give us. I think that you're a real inspiration to me personally as well as professionally, and I sincerely appreciate all that you've done. So thank you.
I first got involved with sexual assault rape crisis efforts in late 1975. There were a group of women in San Joaquin County, Stockton, where I lived, and at that time had wanted to start a women's center, a coffee house, a drop-in place for women to congregate. And they did a few meetings in town at the library, asked people to check what they would be interested in working on. And I had just recently read Susan Brown Miller's Against Her Will, and was awakened to the issues of sexual assault. So I checked a box, and from there I was one of two people who checked a box and became interested in working on this issue. So we worked on it separately from this coffee house women's center, and joined the Women's Center shortly after they incorporated in mid-1976. And we had a little office that a church donated to us for the Women's Center. And in that office there was a closet, and the Rape Crisis Center got to use the closet for their space. And we had a phone that sat on the window ledge because that was really all the space that was in there. And it was red. And we began by opening a crisis line. And I worked there for 10 years as director for the Rape Crisis Program for San Joaquin County.
Hi, Linda. This is Hope. I just wanted to say I appreciate you've been 20-something years. You've helped me out. I know when I first started ED, so I just wanted to say thank you.
Linda, I just wanted to thank you on behalf of all the Rape Crisis Centers for all your contributions and work that you've given to the field. I know you've been a part of this field, I think, longer than almost anybody else I know. And particularly, I know that when I started in this work back in 1985, I was so appreciative of your support that you had given me. at the local Rape Crisis Center that I was a part of. Secondly, I think that not only have you been a friend to the field, but I think you've been a strong advocate, especially during the time that I've been a part of CALCASA. And even before that, I remember just your role in just helping to advocate, especially because your perspective coming from the field, helping the centers in any way that you can, and helping to kind of translate all the challenges that happen at the state level and kind of making it into a user-friendly and what does it mean for us at the local level. So I really just want to appreciate you for being a strong advocate at your work through OCJP, OES, CalEMA now, and just being a part of this work. I think not only have you been just a strong advocate, but I think you've also been a real strong mentor. And so I just recall all of that through my years in the work and being part of CALCASA, and also being when I was part of a local center. So thank you again, Linda, for just being a part of this work and for everything that you've done. Thank you so much.
Hi, Linda. This is Marianne with the North Coast Rape Crisis Team, and I just want to acknowledge and appreciate all your years of service in the field, and greatly appreciate it. Thanks.
In 1978, we were one of the first 20 centers in California to receive funding from Department of Social Services, where the funding started, based on the first bill that was passed by Alan Robbins, I believe it was. And there was discussion, once we got the coalition going, there was certainly a lot of discussion and differences of opinion about how this would impact, whether we would be tainted by taking state money, and it would, have some control over how we operated our agencies. That was always a concern. It was definitely a concern from the get-go. That we wanted the money and desperately needed the money, but we also were very leery of the state directing how we did things. I carried that with me when I came to OCJP, and it was one of the things that I wanted to keep in mind as having that perspective from the field. I was thrilled that there was a place in the state that I could go to. The most impressive thing was that we didn't have to take pieces of paper and go to our paper cutter and cut them up into squares so that we could have notes. The state had Post-it notes, and it was the most impressive thing that I had ever seen. And you could go and get them anytime, and you didn't have to chop up the little pieces of paper. That's what I remember. And the state was formidable in a number of ways, and it really did take getting used to. I'm not sure that I transitioned totally, ever have, to a state worker. I think they still have problems with me, but I still feel that it's my role, that they hired me to come there and be an advocate for this program, and that's what I intended to do, and hope I've been able to do that. One of the things I always have done is encourage people to tell me how they felt, and sometimes that's a difficult process because how they feel is not necessarily pleasant for me to hear. But I think that it's fundamentally fair for them to have the ability to air their issues and to hear, to change our minds on the state level, certainly, and that's certainly happened a number of times, or to know that they were heard and then hear back, we can't do what you want because. And here's the reason, and explain it thoroughly to them, which hopefully, it may take a much longer time to do that, but I think in the end, it serves everyone better.
Hi Linda, this is Paula, North Coast Rape Crisis Team, Humboldt and Illinois. I just want to tell you that there have been moments through the years at meetings where I saw in your face and heard in your voice your true heart and commitment to this work, and I just wanted you to know that I saw that and noticed it, and it meant something to me.
Hi Linda, I want to thank you so much for dedicating your life to support survivors of sexual assault. We really appreciate your leadership in the movement to end gender violence and just your hard work to enable all of us, the Rape Crisis Centers, to become stronger individually and collectively. Thank you for your great service. We'll really appreciate you.
Linda, thank you for all you've done for the Rape Crisis movement in California. And on a personal note, I want to thank you for helping our agency at a time of crisis when we really needed some expert assistance, and I'll never forget that. Thank you.
In May of 1980, we received a letter, I suppose, because we used letters then, we certainly didn't use email, that there was going to be a convening of all rape crisis centers in the state that we knew of in Saturday, May 10th, 1980, to discuss forming a coalition of sorts. So Marilyn, out of the Yolo County Sexual Assault Center, really drove the starting of CALCASA prior to her arrival at OCJP. So we met on a Saturday. People were given in advance information about who would want to apply for being the executive director or the director of the organization. So we had some sessions, some speakers, and then an election occurred for, and each of the people who thought they would like to compete for this spoke briefly, and they had a resume of their work and so forth. And the first executive director, I guess that's what it was called then, of the coalition was a staff person at my agency, and it was Cynthia Flannery, and she chaired the coalition for the first 2 years and also was very involved in developing the bylaws with Marilyn, who was then at OCJP. So from the get-go, we had a good amount of the work coming out of our office where she was doing the work. Things were done on a shoestring for sure, and CALCASA continued to operate out of whichever rape crisis center was the executive director of that, until there was, some solid funding for them out of our office.
Linda, hi. I just wanted to take this opportunity to tell you how much I appreciate all of your leadership. You have definitely been a mentor and a friend to me in this work, in this movement, and I just want to say again, thank you, bless you, and I hope you stick around for a long time. Gracias, Linda.
Linda, I just wanted to say a few words to you because I feel like I've known you for so long. I first met you back in 1988 when I was a week into my employment at the LA Commission on Assaults Against Women, which is now POV, Peace Over Violence. But and you were, I think, 6 months into your position as the chief of the sexual assault branch. So that was about 23 years ago, and so it dawned on me the other day that the entire time that I've worked in this field, you have been the chief of the sexual assault branch. And so I've never known this movement working here without you as an advocate for us. And I definitely have recognized that over the years we may have had our differences, certainly around funding issues. However, I recognize that you've always been a strong advocate for us within this movement. And in the last 23 years, certainly, we've been able to benefit from that, from you. Certainly having your roots in the rape crisis movement, and you're just an advocate at heart, and that shows that you've always gone and fought for us and on behalf of the rape crisis centers, and I think we've all benefited from that. I think unlike other people, we are able to say that you've never really forgotten where you came from, and as a movement, we've been able to benefit here in California. And certainly with me being in Sacramento now, I'm really able to see how much you are an advocate for us and how tenacious you are about funding issues and representing the field within your capacity. And so I just want to thank you for your years of service, for your commitment to the centers, and for being there, for being such a loud and strong voice. And I just want to thank you on behalf of all of the rape crisis centers in California for everything that you do and continue to do.
For rape crisis centers, the first funding was in 1980, and that was at Department of Social Services, where they had the grand total of $200,000, and they elected to fund 20 rape crisis centers at $10,000 each, and we were thrilled. We thought that was big-time money, because it was for us. And I was one of the 20 centers that was funded. Shortly after that, the money moved to OCJP, and we were able to tap into the penalty assessment in 1982, there was just over $800,000 in penalty assessment funds, and that was distributed among 82 rape crisis centers, meaning each had an average of roughly $16,000, which was big money, because that was way more than the $10,000 we had 2 years before. And right now we have, supporting the Rape Crisis Center, $18 million for 84 rape crisis centers, and the low amount on those is around $120,000, and the high end is $312,000.
Hi, Linda. I just wanted to say there's been so many changes in our movement, and right from the very beginning you were there, and you have made it amazingly better for each and every one of us, and every footprint you placed in our centers has really made a mark, and I'm so glad that you never have changed. You just got stronger, wiser, and you've been a great mentor to me personally, but I know for some of the other centers. And I appreciate you, and we don't want you to go away. So we've been hearing the buzzword, I'm gonna retire. Well, we're not gonna let you. So don't even think about it, okay? Yeah, you still have a lot of more footprints to place in that cement, so we need you. But thank you so much for all that you have continued to give, and we just love you.
Linda, can you believe that it's 40 years of our movement and both of us are still here? You've been a fantastic ally and promoter of rape and supporter of rape crisis centers for all these years. You've been an ally, you've been an inspiration and an asset to our whole movement in California, and we just so appreciate you, and I appreciate you personally for all the support that you've given me and all of our agencies over the years.
Well, hi Linda, and I wanted to come in and say a few words to you. I don't know if you remember the first time we met. I knew very little about sexual assault when I first came to Weave, and you were very helpful and very supportive, and now that I'm doing the work on the ED level, I think I can attribute some of that to you. So whatever you do, whoever you work with, they are lucky, and I was lucky to have you cross my path. Good luck.
It seems like what our focus is mostly is what we still need to do and how we need to get there, and all of the things that are still to be accomplished. So on the one hand, I think it's, looking back, it's remarkable that we've done what we have, but it's also apparent that we have a ways to go, and I think we always will. I think the thing to keep in mind is the work is not about me, the work is about making things better for someone else, and that's what I've tried to keep in mind.
Linda, Candy and I have decided that you should
Run for governor. Vote for Linda. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.